We need Kong. The world needs him.
I was apprehensive about Godzilla vs. Kong. After all, I gave poor reviews to Adam Wingard's Death Note and Michael Dougherty's King of the Monsters. In fact, I am now changing my rating for King of the Monsters from 2.5 stars to simply 1 star. So, was Godzilla vs. Kong as bad as those films? Absolutely not. I loved this movie. I am a huge fan of the Showa Godzilla era, and Godzilla vs. Kong is the Showa era reincarnated as a Hollywood blockbuster. Unlike Godzilla King of the Monsters, Godzilla vs. Kong is a massive improvement that knows what kind of film it wants to be. Instead of trying too damn hard to be preachy and thematic, it embraces the lunacy of its sci-fi roots with love and respect to its influences. It's pretty clear that the script was longer, but Wingard made the right call to trim any narrative fat that the film didn't need, and the end result is a well-balanced structure that never sinks to boredom. However, the reason why Godzilla and Kong fight is unnecessary. Eileen already establishes that there can't be 2 Alpha Titans, so the whole ancient war thing seems unnecessary because the film never explores it, nor does it ever reveal why it began in the first place. The characters are an improvement over King of the Monsters' characters. King of the Monsters introduces an entire ensemble, yet it gives a majority of their duties to Mark. Granted, the characters in Godzilla vs. Kong are still flawed, but they're more focused, centralized, and most of them serve a purpose to the plot. I say most because the film didn't need Nathan Lin. Nathan feels more like the obligatory action hero scientist that typically dominates this genre. As a result, he doesn't fit in with this story. Eileen should have been the leading character, and her relationship with Gia and their relationship with Kong should have been the heart and soul of the film. Unfortunately, we only get a hint of this, and those characters are sidelined. Eileen is only there to babysit Gia, and Gia is only a messenger to Kong. Madison's arc is serviceable, but the film doesn't give us a reason to care about her, and it's strange that she's not suffering from PTSD. The film didn't need Josh. His involvement would have been warranted if he were in love with Madison or trying to redeem himself in her eyes, but instead, the film treats him like a punching bag. Bernie is the obvious comic relief, but his humor hardly lands. Brian T. Henry's over-the-top performance should have been toned down because it becomes more annoying than funny. Unfortunately, the MonsterVerse still doesn't know how to treat its villains. Walter, Maya, and Ren Serizawa are severely underwritten. The film never makes a case as to why their intentions are justified, and instead treats them like plot devices. Walter should have been the one to approach Eileen and go down into the Hollow Earth with her instead of Maya, and Maya should have replaced Ren because he's just a throwaway character that doesn't benefit or affect the film. Godzilla and Kong are at their best. Wingard does an excellent job at adding empathy for Kong. However, Wingard does not take advantage of Kong using sign language, which would have helped further develop the character and allow audiences to invest in Kong on a deeper level. I also wish Kong's beard would have been longer and thicker than how it ended up being on film. Godzilla seems sidelined from the movie at times, but at least he's the central focus of the plot, and he's given enough screen time. However, I wish Wingard added his own take on the design rather than just rehashing Michael Dougherty's design. Audiences already know who Godzilla is and are aware that this film is part of the MonsterVerse, so recycling Dougherty's design for the sake of consistency is unnecessary. Wingard's Mechagodzilla is the best iteration to date yet. Wingard returns the character to its destructive, unstoppable Terminator roots and succeeds at establishing Mechagodzilla during the first act instead of the third act. Mechagodzilla's design is bulky but unique and charming. However, I wish Mechagodzilla had more distinguished roars like past incarnations. I love Tom Hokenborg's soundtracks for Fury Road, Dead or Alive, and some of the DC films. Unfortunately, Godzilla vs. Kong is not one of his best scores. It is disappointingly generic. His new Godzilla theme sounds more like a ripoff because he takes the same notes from the Ifukube theme and creates the music equivalent of an anagram. If you were going to go so far to imitate Ifukube, why not just reacquire the Ifukube themes? Kong's theme is serviceable but mostly unimpressive, and we hardly ever hear that 8-foot bass drum that Hulkenborg was raving on about. However, Godzilla and Kong's themes work better when Hulkenborg readapts them with different keys and harmonies. Hulkenborg's score is not all that bad. Some of my favorite tracks are the opening credits, Antarctica, Mega, and Hong Kong. The film's pacing is better than most of the MonsterVerse films. It's pretty clear they cut out a lot of footage, but it proved beneficial because the pacing is always moving at a rapid yet perfectly balanced pace. Wingard made the right call to linger on the monsters' battles rather than just switch back and forth between the monsters and the humans. As a result, we spend more time with the monsters and the battles never feel nauseating. Godzilla vs. Kong sports the best visual effects in the MonsterVerse to date. Godzilla and Kong have never looked more pristine and refined than they do here. The effects also avoid shaky cam and seem to take note from Pacific Rim by staging the monster battles from an appropriate distance. Adam Wingard seems to be aware that Hollywood is still incapable of delivering excellent social-political commentary to their Godzilla films, and as a result, Wingard doesn't even bother touching those subjects. Instead, Wingard takes a cue from Jordan Buck-Roberts and gives priority to spectacle and entertainment, and the end result is a film that is irresistibly fun. Overall, Godzilla vs. Kong is a solid creature feature. It's a monstrous improvement over King of the Monsters and one of the best installments in the MonsterVerse. Godzilla vs. Kong is one of those blockbusters that remind us why we go to the movies and why we love kaiju movies. It's very reminiscent of Showa Godzilla films like Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla and even the original King Kong vs. Godzilla, where the film's outlandish nature and sci-fi lunacy becomes its charming selling point. If this is truly Legendary's last Godzilla film, at least it ended on a very satisfying high note. I award Godzilla vs. Kong 3 stars out of 4.